Home is where connections are made, memories are formed, and ideas are born. And no one knows home better than NFM. Thanks for tuning in to I Am Home, the podcast that goes deeper than trends and dives into what it means to make your house a home.
Hello and welcome to I Am Home, the Home Life Best Life podcast. I'm Tyler Weisskopf, joined by my co-host who, if fall foliage were fashion, she'd be the runway-ready mom in full bloom. It's Becca Sudbeck.
Hi, Tyler.
Hi, Becca. And our other co-host, Heart Stars Horseshoes, she's the pot of gold. It's Hilary Waltemath.
Hey, Tyler.
Hi, Hilary. Today's topic is fall planters. We're going to talk a little bit about what to plant, how to plant it, and what it takes to keep flowers and all of your plants alive during the fall season.
Oh, sure.
And I'm really excited because we have two NFMers and previous podcast guests with us. We've got brand strategist and producer Anna Woodford.
Hi.
Hi, Ann. And 34-year veteran, NFM veteran, Rodney Rahl. And I've been told you're the plant king.
I do enjoy
as well.
plants, that's for sure.
Okay. Well, welcome to you both. We're really excited to talk plants with you, but let me tell you first why we're even doing this podcast. And that's because NFM is more than just your everything home store. We're in the business of improving lifestyles because your home life should be your best life. And you can learn more at nfm.com. Okay, and I'm just going to pass this episode over to you. I know that we talked beforehand. You've got some pots. You're really excited to have this conversation with Rodney, and I know it's going to be super helpful for our listeners. So,
yeah, super jazzed.
Yeah.
So I fell victim to the pot sale here at NFM.
Many of us
Potapalooza.
do.
Janet will do that to
We've
you.
had,
Yeah.
what is it, 2 years running that we've had the sale?
I think more
3.
than that.
3?
Yeah,
Yeah, 3.
Awesome.
It's become like a thing in Omaha now.
Uh-huh.
Like
Yeah.
people are Facebooking me saying, hey, when is that pot sale? And I'm like,
Same.
you're going to have to define that a little
Right.
more. Outdoor.
Well, I had a great time walking around. I left with 8 blue pots.
My favorite color.
I very much am in my houseplant era, but have not ventured outdoors. So personally has piqued my interest. And of course, fall's coming. So we wanted to capture like how people should change out their planters, if they should. Just different tips and tricks on how to get that perfect fall planter. So super excited here. Excited to have you, Rodney. So I figured let's start and share a little bit more about your experience. And we have some visuals too.
Yeah,
that I think
so-
Scott can cue up for us.
The NFM has been carrying these pots for about a decade or longer now, and I have become a collector of them. So I have 52 of them in my yard right now. And the one thing I always like to tell people is that don't think of these as like you have to put them on a patio and have them stand alone.
Right.
Yeah.
If you see some of my pictures, you'll see I have them buried in with other plants, some in-ground plants.
So these pictures that we're seeing, if you're listening to us on the audio, we'll describe them a little
Sure,
bit. But these
sure.
are like your pictures?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're
awesome.
from our yard.
Oh,
Yeah.
lovely.
So I spend a lot of time out there, probably 10 hours a week.
Yeah.
And it's my little babies. I love every one of them. And I try new flowers. I try new seeds. I try new things every year. So this year we went to what I called my chaotic year, where I didn't, normally a lot of times I'll just have one plant in each thing. Like I use seeds. So the thing will just be overflowing with zinnias. And this year I thought, let's do like a wildflowery kind of thing. And you'll see some of those that are they're kind of scraggly looking now because the summer's kind of baked them to death. But, they were just very unique. Each one had a different thing instead of kind of that commercially looking. Every one of them had this big, there's a picture in the front where the balsam is just overtaking the entire pot, and that's normally what I do. But
Yeah.
it was fun this year to play around with seeds and
Little pops of color.
little pops of color, different heights, different textures. And, I do a lot of seeds, which I capture from the year before. So when you buy some seeds and then they flower, you just pull the dead heads off and put them in a paper bag for next year.
Yeah. As
and-
we do. We all just
Well,
seems like a fall thing as
it
well.
does. It does. There you go. Just
Scary
get your-
movie season. We're
Get a
pulling
bunch
off
of
the dead
brown
heads.
paper bags and you're ready to go. Make sure to year them so that you know what year you pulled them.
Rodney, you mentioned you did it a little more chaotic this way.
Yeah.
I feel like a trend I've been hearing in terms of like yardscaping, landscaping is like chaos gardening,
Sure.
where there's like less of like a formula. You're
less structure.
yeah,
and,
yeah.
It really turned out very organic looking,
Mhm.
which was kind of fun. And using these containers, these ceramic pots that we've all been buying from NFM for the last decade, it raises them up off the ground. So like I'll have them buried inside a bunch of hostas. So hostas filling the base, and then up and on top, you'll see all the different wildflowers. And, you can buy wildflower mixes, which is actually, for these pots, are fantastic. You plant them at Mother's Day. In Nebraska, the rule is Mother's Day. You don't plant anything before Mother's Day. Although this year I did, thanks to global warming, but they just start sprouting, and then you don't have to worry about frost at that time. So you can get a lot of great seeds at all the different stores. I buy a lot from heirloom companies, so I get some weird little mixes of seeds and drape plants. I don't know if anybody knows what those are, but you see them a lot in artificial. They're like a green stem, and then hanging off of it are these flowers that look like almost like little miniature grapes. And they'll grow like 4 foot tall, and they just have these huge heads. So those work good in the middle of some of these planters, where they just get super tall and then they drape down. And the one thing you do have to worry about on some of these is that they're a little invasive. Like they'll start shooting seeds. Balsam, one of my favorite plants, the seed pod, when it dries, it pops. So it not only just drops into the pot, it shoots everywhere, and you can hear them popping as they dry out. So it's so you end up in the spring with all these volunteers, and you're like, well, I'll put them in a pot. And
So the chaos continues.
the chaos continues forever and ever.
What I think is interesting is this idea of chaos, but there's also a formula that we want to talk about that helps you kind of like, you can still be chaotic with how you plant, but it helps you just kind of think through like a little bit of organization, some system to help our listeners, especially those that are a little bit, a little cautious about how to approach this, to help them figure that out.
Yeah, that's exactly right. This formula is the thriller, filler, and spiller formula. It caught my attention because I didn't know where to start.
Sure.
But I like the idea of having it narrowed down to 3 choices, and you can mix and match all over the place. So when I was kind of doing some initial research on this, I was trying to find like relatable, what does it mean? And one that stood out to me was kind of like the fashion relation to it. So your thriller is like your statement piece, that like beautiful sundress that catches attention. The filler is kind of that layering, like you can have a little more fun with it. And then the spiller is like the accessories that tie it all together. So I thought that was
good metaphor.
Kind of a nice way to think about it if you have no idea where you're starting.
Well, and those make beautiful pots when you do that. And they, the way I build them most of the time, this year being chaotic, I didn't do it this way, but generally in the middle, you put something taller that's dramatic, and then you put some base around it that's a little shorter, like maybe petunias or something that's a little, that will stay closer to the ground. So you have this big statement piece, then the petunias, and then I use sweet potato vines a lot. But I don't buy them from the store generally. I go to the Asian market and buy the potatoes, like the purple Japanese potatoes, and they have the most beautiful leaves that just drape down. So, you just wrap them in paper and put them in a closet for a couple of weeks, and they start getting the little eyes on them, and then you just cut them, put them in there, and then your vines won't look like anybody else's, because there's very few people who think of doing that. But it's
unless we all just steal it.
Well, and you're more than welcome to steal it. So, and for a 50-cent potato, you really get like 6 pots with those. So, and because with 52 of them, I can't go and just load up the back of the truck with thousands of dollars in bedding plans. So we do a lot of shortcuts, and saving the seeds, doing these little things. So, but before we get into that level, one of the things about these pots, if you came and bought a bunch of these pots, or you're going to buy some of them still, filling them up, this is a kind of a trick that we've all done. You fill the bottom of them with styrofoam, empty pop bottles, milk jugs, anything that keeps because you don't need, like some of these pots are 30 inches tall. You don't need 30 inches of dirt. You're not planting a tree. So
heavy.
And they're so heavy to move. I mean, I have a 2-wheeler that's just for moving pots.
Oh, wow.
And you can really, you don't need to buy 8 bags of potting soil either then, because that potting soil isn't super reasonable most of the time. So, put the base in, then put the dirt on top of it, and then it's lighter, it drains better. It's just better all around. And then, the thing I always suggest to people is that you do buy nice nice potting soil, a Miracle-Gro or something that's a little better. There's a bunch of organic stuff out there right now, which I don't know what's not organic about the Miracle-Gro other than that they might put some fertilizer in it, but it's still just a massive dirt. and
naturally
mulch
organic.
I mean, it's after a couple watering, all the fertilizer goes to the bottom anyway. But anyway, those definitely help.
Okay, very smart, because I was looking at some of the larger ones, like it's a lot of dirt.
Yeah, just grab a bunch of styrofoam, but go buy a new TV.
Yeah,
There you go.
And then in that box will be all this styrofoam. And then you just break it and put it in. So you get a new TV and the stuff to fill your pots.
Yes, conveniently get both.
Yeah, there you go.
Win-win.
Can't take the salesperson out of me.
I love it. Okay, let's dive a little bit more into the thriller. So,
Sure.
Like you mentioned, it's kind of that taller, more focal plant. Where do you begin in choosing that thriller plant? Is it the height, the color?
I do height.
Yeah.
And I supplement that sometimes. And I don't know if I have pictures of those in that slide, but I put trellises in the bigger pots.
Okay.
So you can grow vines on them. So like I have morning glories and moonflowers that grow up in the middle of some of them on that trellis, which turn out really beautiful. The morning glories, you have to kind of get up early to see, but the moonflowers, they're there at night. So that's more my speed. So I see a lot of them. And if you've never planted moonflowers before, they're readily available. They're not anything really distinct, but the smell of them is a perfume that you just can't even imagine. And it's a very full vine. So if you have a fence you want to grow it on, or a trellis or something, and those don't really come back volunteer next year. The morning glories are horrific about coming back. So you end up with morning glories everywhere. You're like, how'd you get in the front yard?
Right. Hitched a ride.
Hitched a ride.
Yeah.
Nebraska wind.
Got a wind.
Do you often use like grasses, like taller grasses?
I
for
have,
height?
but I don't a lot because I like flowers. So I've done spikes in some years. Those are kind of fun. But generally I use for height, I use zinnias a lot. These balsam, the drape plants, something that brings it up and over. So
your florals over grasses.
I am, but the grasses are cute in there. You can see some of the professional ones that were done. I mean, they look very stately with that. Kind of a bring my eye here and then look down. Everybody likes a focal point. So if there's something, even in room design, if you're doing a room, having a unique chair or something brings your eye there. And then you're like, oh, now I see the rest of the room. If it's all the same color and all the same textures, you're just kind of like, I don't see anything.
Right.
But, having texture, height, using a trellis, throwing in those sweet potatoes, just have fun.
Yeah, I love that. So as we move into the fall season, we're starting to see colors like burgundy and copper, purples and greens.
All of our mums that we all love.
Yeah, which that was my next question. Like, what are some creative ways that you can incorporate color?
Well, so here's something that I do, and I'm not a genius on this, but I feel like this is a smart move. So, your petunias all start to die. Your zinnias are flowered out. There's nothing really left of them. Yank those out. And then while your vines are you've still got your sweet potato vines and you still got your whatever's growing in there that's still alive, put your mums right in there.
Smart.
Don't start over from zero. And in fact, a lot of times I cannibalize from a bunch of different pots, like something's still really pretty here, but it's the only thing really pretty. So I'll take that and put it with something else. So don't feel like once you planted something that you're done.
Yeah.
You can move them. You can bring them all together.
Okay.
The other thing I really like to do is once something's kind of at its end, I pull it out and I'll just put a pumpkin on the top of the pot. And you don't need anything else, just a pumpkin. And I found it keeps the squirrels and the rabbits and everything else from eating my pumpkins that I usually just put on the step.
They're up high.
They're high and it's slick, so they don't have any traction.
Sounds like
Smart.
So
I know.
clever.
Those squirrels just make such a mess of the pumpkins
They
on
do.
the ground.
They do. They do. They're hungry, so they're going to eat it up.
I'm
Not-
locking that one.
I'm not here to feed you. I'm here to have a pretty yard. So.
Right. Although my neighbors do love to give them things like Oreos and whatnot. So all of that buried in the
That's fun.
Right.
planter. It's so fun. Yeah. So fun
I end up with a
to
lot of
play
trees in my yard
Yeah.
because of those critters
Uh-huh.
burying things.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Another way to get those volunteer plants.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, great. That's awesome. So let's jump into the filler, the kind of mid-height plants that
Sure.
really add body and color. Personally, me, when I walk through a local nursery, like I feel like there might be a little bit more opportunity.
Oh, yeah,
more
for sure.
variety in
Yeah.
that
For
kind
sure.
of level or height
Mhm.
of those plants.
Yep.
So are there any that you go to more often than others?
Well,
in
I
your
like
garden?
marigolds because they're so bright and there's so many variations. I have some heirloom ones that I just got this year that are black and orange together.
Oh.
I'll give you some seeds next year.
Yeah.
They're really pretty.
Yeah.
But since they're heirloom, they haven't been manipulated to have huge flowers.
Sure.
So most of the seeds we have today are really they've been grown and created to make the biggest flowers possible. So these, since they're heirloom, they just mean that they're kind of old school and they're not huge, but they're so pretty.
Kind of funky.
They're kind of funky. There's like these black and orange. And
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
very Halloweeny.
I was gonna say that's perfect for Halloween.
Yeah,
And they
it's-
also like keep ants away, right?
Yeah,
Is that
I plant them in with my tomatoes and all of that because it
Wow.
keeps bugs away.
Yeah.
There's something in the root
smell.
system.
Yeah.
and-
Like they have an interesting smell. I feel like
They do.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They for sure do.
Distinct smell.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. There's lots
Dual
of.
purpose. I love
Yeah.
it.
Well, I have talk about a stink smell. I have a wisteria, which is gorgeous. It's beautiful. These
Mhm.
big grape-like flowers hanging off them. They smell like death.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, how does something so pretty smell
I know.
so bad?
That might be a ism for something
Yeah.
in life, but I'm
Right.
not.
Yeah.
Pretty, but you smell like death.
So if you catch us calling people wisteria.
Right.
Yeah, no kidding. That's great. So one thing we haven't really touched on is the texture. I personally, in my house plants, love like the velvety
Oh,
textured
sure.
plants.
Mm.
I don't. Maybe it's just the soft look of them,
Yeah. Oh,
but I've seen it outside too.
oh yeah, for sure. You'll say like begonias and some of those. They
Yes.
really are. There was a new petunia out this year. I don't know. Did anybody buy this glow in the dark petunia?
No, but I
I
saw
did
like
hear about it,
Mulholland's
yeah.
I'm
post
waiting.
about it.
If
I didn't hear about that.
if somebody has them and they had good experience with them,
Uh-huh.
I'd love to hear about it because that seems bizarre to
Yeah.
me.
Uh-huh.
Right. What
Yeah.
are we doing to something that grows? in
Yeah,
the
I don't know
dirt
how
that
you.
is
I don't,
like
How do
looks
we make it
radioactive.
like
do you mix it with a firefly or I don't know.
Yeah, all the
Like that's a
questions.
weird combo. But,
Uh-huh. What's going on in the lab?
but one thing that I will tell you that's kind of fun is they make these glow in the dark rocks. They're just
Mhm.
like little pellets,
Mhm.
and I throw those in my pot sometimes. And then at night, they
Cool.
kind of, as you walk around, or
Mm.
fairy lights that are running
Yeah.
solar. I don't throw them in the plants; I put them around the bottom, so all of these plants are kind of bottom lit.
Yeah.
And we all look better bottom lit, right? So, so it's kind of fun to see, walking through the yard.
Yeah.
It gives it a little Disney.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
that's
that.
great. So actually, it's a great leeway into my next question. Off the mic, we had talked about hay bales and corn stalks.
Oh, sure.
Going into the
Mm.
fall season, I think that's a great way to incorporate some texture and maybe just some more muted colors.
Oh, for
to
sure.
make your
Mhm.
flowers pop.
Well, and then the thing about the straw bales, they add height. So you can put a stack of 3 of them. I always suggest at least 3, 6. Well, I'm
Mhm.
talking to Hillary, who's she's like a duh. And then put pumpkins on them. You can put your mums on them. And before I forget, the thing about mums in Nebraska is you can leave them in their pots. You can put them in but if you plant them in the dirt in the fall, they'll come
Mhm.
back 90% of the time in the spring.
Mhm.
So you
Oh,
get
cool.
double use out of
That's a
them.
good
So-
investment.
and you
Yeah.
can repot them. So you can move them from their dirt spot into their planter and then do it
Mhm.
again in the fall and just 52 pots. You figure out a lot
Yeah.
of shortcut stuff.
Yeah.
Kidding.
That
That's
made
great.
me think of a question I wanted to ask you. Because there's times where I'm like figuring out what I want to do in a pot or planter, and like plants that come back year over year. Do you ever like start them in a planter and move
Oh,
them
for
to the
sure.
ground? Like, have you had success
Oh
with
yeah,
that?
daisies I do that with all
Okay.
the time. Echinacea I do that. Echinacea is kind of tricky to grow because you have to put it in the fridge for a
Yeah.
while.
Okay.
That doesn't seem right.
Well, it needs to think it's winter.
Oh,
So
Yeah.
you put it in there for a while and
Yeah.
then or you can just leave them out.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Because I like all the perennial, like the look of perennials. I want
Sure.
those in my planters, but I'm like, oh, it's really expensive to like put in a
Yes.
planter
Yeah.
that like you have to do again
well, and
next
I'll
year.
tell you, again, grabbing those deadheads in
Yeah.
the fall then next spring you just crumple them up. And a daisy, echinacea is the one tricky one because you have to refrigerate it for a while to make it think it's winter. And but otherwise, I grow daisies and let frost take them.
Yeah.
Sometimes they come back depending on how big the pot is, but you're out a deadhead. So
Very smart.
yeah, it's
Budget
fun.
friendly.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Sorry, I don't mean to seem like I'm a cheapie, but
No,
I am.
I think that's
sell cheap and tell the truth, right? Isn't that the
exactly
Yeah.
tying it all together? I think that's good advice though, because someone like I had mentioned, I didn't tell my husband I was picking up pot.
Oh boy.
He didn't know until he had to get him out of the car for me.
Surprise.
It's an addiction. Get ready.
Yeah, and he had some words for me, but they look great.
All love, I'm sure, since you're with child. So.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm nesting. I need
Yes.
plants outside now.
Yes. You're welcome.
Okay, let's jump into spiller. So spiller is kind of the plant that trails, softens edges, adds movement. I know we've touched on a couple ideas. I think in your when we originally were talking, you had mentioned you love to watch plants grow,
I do.
and I think that's my favorite part too, is when you can see the progress happening.
Mhm.
So any like the sweet potato vines, I love that idea.
Oh, sure.
Like that's fantastic. Is there anything else that you've seen more common? Or
Vincia vine is very nice. That you'll find that at all of the garden stores. The other thing that's kind of fun is they make a petunia that's called a trailing. It'll drape over the sides. The flowers aren't huge, but it's very pretty as it drapes over. What is the and something else that I do, which I imagine other people do, but indoor plants love Nebraska in the summer.
Yeah.
So I will put philodendron in a pot and it just goes crazy because it's really meant to be in a jungle. I mean, we bring them inside
Right.
because that's where what we do. And if you've ever been any place tropical like Hawaii, those philodendron are just crazy. Like they cover tree. They're actually an invasive plant there, and we're paying $1.50
Right.
for a little plant that the Hawaiians are like, we spray to kill those things. So, but you can plant those outside, and then if you're game, if you have that inside. I'm not an inside plant guy.
I'm slowly but surely figuring it out.
Oh, so you can pop them out and put them inside.
Yeah.
You want to put some cinnamon to kind of keep any mold or anything that might have grown outside. But yeah.
Okay, that's great.
Cinnamon for mold. That's
Cinnamon is a kind of like an antibiotic for plants. So if you're transplanting things and you don't want to bring stuff with them, it also stimulates the roots. Epsom salt's another good one.
Yeah.
We talked about it before we went on air, but that really makes things bloom and makes your vegetables, like your tomatoes, will be huge. And on the bag of Epsom salt that we all use for everything else except for that, it'll tell you what ratio to use. Like, and it's not heavy. It's not a ton, but yeah, you'll see your tomatoes really pop and the flowers. I'm also a big Miracle Grow guy.
Yeah.
It's not super toxic. You mix it with the water and you pour it on, and I fertilize probably more than most people, but I like
That's
flowers.
why your yard looks the way that it does.
Right, exactly. And I do a lot of recycling of dead plants, so I won't throw them in the trash. I just pile them up, and then over the winter they dry out and the nutrients sink inside, and then I kind of till it up with the other stuff. So I try to keep a circle.
That's great.
Yeah, it's fun.
I love that. I've learned so much. Okay, so we've covered a ton of information when it comes to like the formula of these arrangements.
Sure.
And you've given some really great tips. Is there anything else that people should know when planting, or I guess really any time of the year? Like I have a couple questions to start us off here.
Sure.
For someone like me, intimidated by the outside planters, any advice, like time of year to give it a try, or
spring's always fun. I mean, spring, because everything's growing and it's it's just kind of a renewed after our dark, cold winters. It's kind of fun to have that to look forward to, even if you start plants inside, which I've yet to have any luck doing, but a lot of my friends do. It's fun to watch them start growing. It kind of ups your mood. There's something about being in
Light
flowers and the light therapy from the even there's a report, I couldn't quote it exactly, but there's a microbe that when you're digging in the dirt that releases, that improves your moods. So kind of a natural antidepressant. I also have a St. John's wort bush. So if anybody wants some of that for making tea for their seasonal
Your
depression, we
potions.
got it. We got it, a little witchery. And so, yeah.
I
good.
love that.
Yeah.
My indoor house lights want to get a lot of comments in Teams meetings because I have my pink grow lights on behind me.
Oh, sure.
Mhm.
That's maybe more for me than it is the plants, but
There is probably some light therapy. Red, I know, is supposed to be good.
Yeah.
So maybe
Mhm.
this is just a little softer of that.
could
But
be. So decor as well as functional.
Mhm.
Let's see here. So care and maintenance, obviously that's part of the intimidation, right? Is like how to care and maintain these plants. I know obviously you can look into that per plant on what you're getting, but any general tips on care and maintenance or like how you're selecting your plants? for these
so,
potters?
mostly I select them based on how much sun they get.
Smart.
So, the thing, zinnias is one of my favorite, and I have so many different variations. They're just, they're easy.
Mhm.
They are drought tolerant. So, you can water them once a day. And I call them crybabies because when they get dry, they start drooping like, oh no, I'm dying. And I'm like, you just had water this morning. You're fine. And I do have some conversations with some of my plants. Some of them have kind
I
of
hear it
foul
works.
mouths, but generally speaking, they're all nice. The balsam, if you've never planted balsam before, it's one of my favorites. And those things, they'd start falling backwards and you water them and they're like, oh, okay, thanks.
Dramatic.
It's like a child who's like, if I don't get a treat, I'm going to throw a tantrum. And then you give them the treat
Yeah.
and life is good for
Yeah.
5 minutes. So,
There's a lot of house plants that are very particular like that.
oh
Like
yeah.
peace lilies.
But in the summer, it's so hot here. And even in the spring, unless it's been really rainy, you can just water all of them every day.
Yeah.
I've rarely ever
But you
flooded
can't
anything
overwater
out.
them
Not-
generally.
Not generally, and especially if you're using the pots and you put the bottom filler, because then
Yeah.
if it's too much water, it
Drains a
goes
lot.
right to the bottom
Smart.
and goes back into the yard. So yeah, I've seen some, when we've had really crazy rain where it just sat on top of it for a
Mhm.
while and the plants are like, this is cool. And, eventually it drains. and
Right.
Yeah.
I've
take
never
what
really
they need
flooded
and then-
anything.
They take what they need and then the rest just.
Yeah. They'd probably love to sit in that
Yeah.
water, especially some of the more tropical ones, but
Interesting.
off they go.
Yeah.
Like elephant ears, they love water.
Mm.
I don't know if that's something I love to do, is put elephant ears in
Mhm.
pots and then put, like I keep saying petunias because I love petunias, but around the bottom. So you have this big elephant ear and then you have the petunias and you just pull the bulbs every year. It's not
Yeah.
hard to do. And then you put them in the basement and
Yeah, I love
Next
elephant
spring.
ears.
Yeah, that's what we
They're
have in our
so
yard, in our
cool.
backyard.
yeah,
We do
aren't they
like
pretty?
those.
I mean,
Yeah.
it feels like
Yeah.
you're in the jungle.
Yeah.
It does. It
And, I
doesn't
mean, some of
feel
them
like-
get leaves
Yeah.
on them that are like
Yeah.
36 inches long. It's just, you're like, Nebraska? Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's our palm tree.
Yeah, right. I know. I have a friend of a friend that had them in front of her house, and she would like take a photo next to them every year, and they're like almost as tall as she is.
Oh,
Sometimes.
yeah.
It's,
They're crazy.
uh-huh.
Well, and you can get some, I think they're called Queens hosta
Mm.
that get like 24-inch leaves on them. And those you don't do
Ooh.
anything. We have to thin them
Yeah.
every few years,
Yeah.
but otherwise they're gorgeous. They're like
Yeah.
a golden yellow. And I have a lot of hosta because I have a lot of trees. and
Yeah.
that fills in nice.
Have you split your hostas to like get more out
Oh,
of
yeah.
it? Yeah.
Well, and I give them away because I have everywhere. I
Yeah.
have hosta everywhere. so-
Yeah. I know there's like my family has like shared hostas.
Oh,
There's,
yeah.
like everybody's got some of everybody's like hostas, which is just a cool.
But I'll tell you
Personal
one
touch.
thing about sharing plants with each other, because there's so many invasive weeds that like once they get in your yard, you can't get rid of them. When you get those, knock off all the dirt, rinse them off, and then plant them. Don't bring the dirt. So like if they give you a big clump of them,
Yeah.
get that dirt off of there, because they're invasive weeds in there and you don't want to bring more into your yard. It's
Yeah.
already dealing with enough like that. It's creepy, something that
Yeah.
you can't,
yeah.
nothing kills it.
Yep.
Like
Right.
Roundup it just,
Right.
rubs it in. It's like, a moisturizer and
Exfoliant.
exfoliant. So yeah, just rinse them off so that you don't bring any of that. And then
Yeah.
again, cinnamon, throw some cinnamon on
Yeah.
there. If you have some root hormone that you can buy at Walmart or
Mhm.
wherever, that makes them root quicker. But yeah, lots of little tricks.
Yeah. Good to know.
Yeah, I love that. One final question,
Sure.
like, and you kind of touched on this, but like let's say somebody wants some help.
Mhm.
Maybe they don't want to do it all themselves.
Sure.
Like what kind of resources, excuse me, do you lean into? Is it YouTube?
I do some
service?
YouTube. I have a friend who was on a podcast last year or the year
Yeah.
before,
Yeah.
Scott.
Mhm.
I will text him something. I'm like, I want to do this. And he's like, don't do it. You'll die. Or that's not, he's very good about telling me about things that aren't good for Nebraska.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, there's this Bradford pear tree, which is something that had been genetically, not scientifically genetically, but like by growing and picking the right things, that everybody has, because they have white flowers, which also smell like death in the spring. And they're very pear shaped and they're very pretty, but they're not great. Like a good wind, once they're mature, will knock huge branches off. They're not really designed for Nebraska, but we all have them because they're pretty and they grow fast. And, but he would tell me to get something more like a teacup magnolia, which grows slower, but has very sturdy roots and I had in my front yard a couple years ago, I had a beautiful Bradford pear, and the wind just knocked it straight over.
Yep.
I'm like, how do you knock a whole tree over?
Right.
So
Yeah.
there's, it's not built for us. So,
Shoot.
but we all have them and we like them.
Remind listeners, because we had him on the podcast before. He's Nebraska Department or
Yeah, he's the
something.
county. He works for the county extension.
For the University of Nebraska.
Yeah, partial through
Yeah.
them and partial through the county. And
And these are like pretty much every state, every city
oh yeah,
has,
the
like,
county
some of these
extension
kind of
office
things.
will help you with a lot of stuff.
Mhm.
The library,
Mhm.
they have a seed catalog now, which you can go check out. I don't know how you return the seeds, but you can go check out seeds. So if you don't want to go to Lowe's or Home Depot,
Seriously?
yeah.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of friends that go there, and you get really unique stuff.
Huh.
Yeah, so you can get all kinds of fun stuff. And the thing about this is that it becomes part of your life.
Mhm.
So you have a boring weekend, you don't have anything going on, you go out in the yard. I like make a new flower bed because why not?
Right.
And
Yeah.
if you see my house from Google, there's like just this little strip of yard of an actual lawn, and everything else is flowers or pergolas so it's nice, it's fun,
Yeah.
it's very relaxing
Little
out there too.
sanctuary you've-
It is.
you've created
It
back there.
is.
Yeah.
Well, did you guys go to Janet's wedding? That was were you at Janet's
We
wedding?
didn't,
It wasn't
but
there.
saw
Okay.
lots of photos.
Yeah, so we had a wedding in the backyard,
Yeah.
Mhm.
which I would be willing to do again. I just don't know anybody getting married.
I know someone.
We are getting married in a garden.
Oh, very
Yes.
nice.
Yes.
Very nice.
I know. I should have thought of you. I was like, if only we knew somebody with a backyard.
Oh,
but-
it's all good.
Yeah.
It's all good. The catering sucks, but
Yeah.
the rest of it's nice.
It's real pretty, which
It's
is
real
what
pretty.
I'm most concerned about.
Gonna be some buckets of chicken.
Sounds good to me.
Well, this episode's been great. Thank you,
Oh, yes,
Ian
of
and
course.
Rodney. And of course, thanks to my co-hosts, Hilary and Becca, our producer, Scott, and to our listeners. Make sure that, if this episode helped you in any way, to find us, leave us a review on the podcast platforms of your choice. Check out our website, nfm.com/podcast. And until next time, here's to making your home life your best life, one story at a time.
Thank you, Tyler.
Thanks for joining us today for I Am Home with Tyler Weisskopf, Hilary Waltemath, and Becca Sudbeck. No one knows home quite like NFM. So if you'd like more information on home design at NFM, please check out nfm.com and leave us a review on the podcast platform of your choice.